What's up, guys? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the weekly watch list video for the week of October 14th, 2024. And we're going to just break down some of the setups that we see going into this week. So, first things first, let's take a look at some stuff here. So, as for the indexes, we'll start with IWM because we're already here. But what you can see here is that we are continuing to hold the 618 of this retracement from here to here, a little crash that we had that they called a crash. Um, we're continuing to hold that 618 for 2 weeks in a row. So now we're trading in between the 786 and the 618. And now what once we can get a breakout above this level, you can see here how it's acted resistance for quite some time. When we clear this level, it should open up the door to this 786 from the larger swing. Now, that swing comes from this swing high to low. And then we had this range that we were trading out of. So we took some time, broke out of this range, formed a weekly squeeze, and now we're trying to get the party going. So we are in the buy zone, so this is still an entry spot right here. I do think that, well, you're going to be risking a move like conservative would be a stop below this 216. And then really the best place to put that stop would be below this major 618 and lines up with the weekly 21 EMA. So we have that, and then we have upside. This is a major resistance now. If I drop down to a lower time frame, you can see here we had this buy signal here, right? And then we had this push up into resistance, the previous high, and we had a really, really strong rejection and sold off really hard after. So we have to be cautious at this level. You can see that sellers are very present at this level, but buyers are very present at this level right now. So you can see we came down, we bounced once, bounced twice, bounced three times now. Now we're coming up on this resistance, and this is what happened the time before. Rejection here. Look at the sellers that entered in at this level here again, and then here again. So right now we've got some major levels that we need to pay attention to. We can look to buy the breakout above this here, the 222 level, and then or look for support buys right here at the 618. But really, the key is when we get a break of this 786 level here, that's when IWM can really start to have a move. Now, we do have a daily squeeze. We have indicated by the white candle. I think we have a 3 day. Yep, we've got a 3 day squeeze. We've got a 2 day squeeze. We've got a 4 hour squeeze. So we're setting up for something here. So we got to be aware of that. And I think there's strong potential for us to make a move higher. So but the main signal we want to be paying attention to is that weekly buy signal. So one other thing I want you to check out is KRE. KRE is looking really promising, and this is the biggest holding within the IWM. So you can see here, we've got this consolidation pattern. We've got a 3 day squeeze. We've got a 2 day squeeze. We've got a daily squeeze. And so it's looking like this, got this 4 hour squeeze that just fired on Friday. 195 fired on Friday. So you can see here as well, we're right at resistance. The 786 where we've rejected once, twice, three times, and then now we're coming up and testing it. So this might be what I would look for is like if we can get a buy entry right around, like honestly, this 57 level would probably be the best spot, because we'd have breakout buyers stepping in here. We pull back, shake out some of those guys. We get an entry right here. And then we can look for a move up into that 160 and essentially playing the hopefully the move on the 3 day, right? So this does have buy signals on it. You can see their buy signal on this 3 day here. And the reason why it's not showing up, I've got this set on entry candles or entry zone buys only. And so, but this looks great for momentum. You can see we're getting an expansion candle. We're having the Keltner channels starting to widen out. So we may start to get a move here. So take a look at the other stuff here. Okay, SPY, daily squeeze. You can see we broke the new high. We're into a new high. We stopped right at the 1272. We've been talking about this for a long time. We had talked about if QQQ cleared this level, we're more than likely going to head into a new high. Now look at this. We've got 2 inside days in a row. It's probably going to be pretty likely Monday we might get the same thing, but once this breaks out, we should see a really nice move to the upside and capture a move back into the previous high. The only thing that's questionable right now, well, actually, it's starting to correct itself, is the put call is starting to get pulled back. That 10-day moving average is pulling itself back up, trying to get above that zero point 0.7. And then we'll be in the clear for continuation of higher prices. We'll be in the clear for this weekly squeeze to fire long. But until this signal it needs to subside before we can see actual move up, unfortunately. So that's that, right? So that's what this looks like here. That's what QQQ is looking like right now. We're just at this resistance level here, this gap level. And as soon as we can clear this 190-ish area, no, I wouldn't call it 190. It's more like 195-ish. Once we get above there, I think I think honestly, as long as we sit above the 786 level, we should be looking for buying opportunities for a move up into 505. That's how I'm seeing price action right now. SPY, we've been going back to this it's pretty clear. The expectation of a move up into the 1272 was pretty clear. I mean, once we broke this high, especially once we reclaimed the 786, formed a squeeze, then that we formed another squeeze, and now we had this push up into the 1272. This was kind of expected, right? So that's that. That's what we're looking at for SPY. So right now we're bullish. We can check other time frames. We did have this early entry signal here on the 4 hour for SPY, on the 195 minute, which ultimately took us up into that about a $7 move higher. So and then I believe QQQ had something. No, it did not. So SPY kind of gave us that. We go look at DIA. This one obviously has been the outperformer. We had a 4 hour squeeze. If I took the early entry, or if I took the entry zone criteria, and we just looked at the actual signals, they were printing all through here, but here was your entry zone signal right here. So that was your entry, and then look at that move. Excellent move. And obviously, this was backed by things that were setting up bullishly within this major sector, which is exactly what we're going to be going over in the webinar series for the premium members starting this week, actually. So we had talked about earlier in the week that first we had a buy signal in XLI. We had this 4 hour or 195-minute buy signals. A lot of members that have the signals played this actual trade. So they got in based on this. Okay. Now the next thing is take a look at XLF. XLF had buy signals as well. They were printing buy signals and in the entry zone. And so we had a mix of basically the two kind of key components that will help move the Dow, or yeah, help move the Dow. We got that. We've got XLI printing buy signals. We got XLF printing buy signals. And then we also had DIA printing buy signals. So this was kind of like the trifecta almost of catching the right move, I guess is the way to put it. So so then we had banks come out with their earnings where it already had a nice move, right? from 420 up into 425. And then we had JPM come out with earnings, and that just kept the thing going. But obviously, you can see here, price preceded the news. And we had buy signals on XLF. We had early entry signals on the Dow. And that gave us the move up into the 1272 extension of this previous swing. So we are now at targets for this. So that you can kind of see how all this plays together. This is what we're going to be going over in the webinar series for premium members. So you can get the first class free. All you got to do is sign up for the free trial. It'll be put down below, and you'll get to join the first class for free. But let's get back into trading stuff. So let's just walk through some setups that we have here. Obviously, we have a lot of buy signals on the 4 hour that we can go through and take a look at. So we've got ADI, kind of a choppy mess. We've got this key resistance at 786. We break above that, we should be in good shape. Um, CMSA, nothing to like we've got was a key level here. We've kind of bounce, rejection, rejection. Now we're above it, printing an early signal, so this could potentially be a play. Before we run through all this, I'm going to kind of give you the top ones that I'm paying attention to. So first is Walmart. We got in this one earlier last week. So you can see here, we're forming this nice flag. We've got green trend bars. We had a buy signal, had a pullback to the 21 EMA, which is just fine. That's a normal reversion to the mean, right? But we've got a 4 hour squeeze. We've got a daily squeeze, and it's on the back of this really nice weekly squeeze that fired back in here. So basically, all I'm looking for is we hold this $80 level. I think it's key that we hold above this 50% retracement. I'll look to cut it if we break below that 50% retracement. But as long as we hold the 21, as long as we hold this, I think this trade looks great. And I think we're going to go up to this 1272, which kind of lines up with 2.5 ATR. We go look at Apple. So this one dropped a little bit on Friday, but setup is still valid as long as we hold above the daily 21 EMA. So what I'm seeing here is we've got a weekly buy signal right here, or sorry, a 3-day buy signal. We've got a 4 hour squeeze. We've got multiple signals on the daily time frame. We have printed 2 inside days. So if the SPY QQQ breaks out, it's probably going to need Apple to make a sustainable move. I'm looking for a move back up to into this resistance, but really I'm looking for a new all-time high. And I'm thinking, okay, this potentially could happen with a run in earnings. So we went with the earnings expiration contracts of the November 1st expiration. And essentially, I'm looking for, we got in right around here. And I'm looking for about $10 of upside. And I'm also looking for the implied volatility to increase on these contracts as we get closer to earnings. And I'm just looking for a run in earnings. I'm looking for the implied volatility, expand on the contracts, make them more expensive, and then basically looking for a push up into like that 237. So that's what I'm looking for on Apple. And then another setup that I think looks pretty good is ABVV. This one's a little choppy, but at the same time, we're holding this support really well here at the 236. And so as long as we're holding support, holding right around that 21 EMA, I'm looking for, okay, can we get a pop up into that 786 and then ultimately that $200 level? That's what I'm looking for. So we talked about ADI. We talked about, I'm going to kind of go over the ones that are key to me and I think that are presenting the best setups right now. So one would be McDonald's. We have early entry signals. We've got earnings coming up on the 31st or 29th. And you can see we have these buy signals here that printed a nice move. And then we have buy signals here. So early entry signals here. So I am looking for continuation. I mean, if we're going for a simple, I'm looking for, okay, we move up into 310, and then I'm wondering, okay, can we get into 320 at some point? Because that's the 1272 of this major retracement from here to here. So I'm looking for, can we get to 320 at some point? I doubt we'll do that before earnings, but kind of pay attention to that. So Marvel, this one's been a choppy mess, but the setup is kind of crazy. So um, weekly buy signals with one, two, three, four, five, six inside bars. So this has really strong potential for a huge move in one direction or another. Okay. And obviously it's leaning bullish because we have uh 4 hour, or sorry, we have daily buy signals, 4 hour buy signals, and weekly buy signals, all on these time frames, all in the entry zone. And so I'm thinking as long conservative stop would be below the weekly 21. More aggressive or like a wider stop loss would be if we break this inside. We've been having inside candles all inside this candle right here. So if we hold this low right here at 165, then we should see a move up into the 81. And then from there, it's kind of clear sales up into a new high. So I'm watching for that. That looks like a really great setup and one of my top ones that I'm watching this week. I won't be trading match.com. SPGI, I think this one looks really good as well. We've got daily early entry signals. The only problem with this one is that it has earnings coming up. So I'm going to have to skip over that one. And the earnings are too close. This one, Seagate Technology, this one looks really good as well. You can kind of see we've got weekly squeeze. We're above the 786. This is going to be one of my top watches this week. We've got this 4 hour A plus, or sorry, 4 hour early entry. Okay. We've got, um, we came down to the 786, bounced off it, came up, kind of traded around this, or the 618. Now we're at the 786. We broke above it, have cleared it, and now holding above it. We've got this 4 hour early entry. I think that this one, uh, there's not much resistance up into a new high. So we want to look at this one and potentially play calls on this one. See when the earnings is at 1022. So we'll revisit this after the earnings. But this one looks really good. Potentially you could play a run in earnings, but I'm thinking this one is destined to make a new all-time high. This reversal here is pretty crazy. It's up over 100% from the lows. VKTX. This one's a little interesting. I've never traded it before. It looks like it's a tech, not technology, but a what is it called? A healthcare stock. And so this one looks pretty interesting. We've got a weekly squeeze, weekly buy signal. We've got a daily. It's saying we're printing a daily signal. I'm not seeing that. It might be outside the buy zone, but this looks pretty good for a continuation. Pretty choppy, so you need to buy time. You can see we printed a buy signal here, and we have yet to like kind of make a move. So let's do this. Take our retracements. We're right up against resistance. So yeah, we're up at 382. It's just an interesting setup there. W Wayfair. So this one you can kind of see here we've got inverse head and shoulders type deal. So that's a pretty interesting one. I don't think it's a setup I'm going to trade. It just doesn't look that great compared to other things in the market. Now this looks great. Okay, so XLC. This one you can see it's flagging. We've got a buy signal. Now we're getting a slingshot or a early entry signal here. And what I'll be looking for is a continuation. We've got Meta, or actually, I think Netflix reports earnings this week. Meta looks really good as well. So this does have low liquidity in terms of options contracts, but I do think that this one could have a nice move to the upside and target that like about a dollar higher. And then you can target that 2.5 ATR. I think this one looks really good. It's just in a flag. It's a clean, clean pattern. We've got a signal in the entry zone. We may want to take that. So that's that. We talked about GM, or no, we talked about Apple, I mean. GM looks pretty good. 3-day buy signals, early entry signals on the daily. Let's see, but we've got earnings coming up. A lot of these tickers, they've got earnings coming up, and so it makes it a little difficult to see how to trade it. KLAC, this one looks good as well. You can see this inverse head and shoulders thing it's trying to print, and we've got this little flag pattern going on at the 618. So you can see that's acted as resistance here previously. So let's see if we can get above that and then look target for that 786. LUV, this is one of my other favorites here. So this one, the reason why I like this setup is because we've got a 4-hour squeeze, we've got a weekly squeeze, we've got a daily squeeze with a buy signal. We're just right up against resistance, which is fine, but there's a chance we can reject. We've got earnings coming up, but something that else that is setting up is Jets. So Jets had a 4-hour, couple 4-hour buy signals, and actually started moving higher into the close. So I'm looking for this one to have some continuation. What's interesting is you can see here the weekly squeeze just fired, right? It was a 1 dot squeeze, but that can still be powerful. Um, and it can present a pretty good opportunity. So um, let's I want to keep an eye on this. This looks like if we can get a pullback, I'd like to enter that one to the long side. And LUV is the top holding within there, I believe. I might be wrong, but it is one of the top holdings for sure. Might not be the top. Marvel, we talked about it. NEM, don't know too much about this company. It's got earnings coming up real quick, so let's skip that. SPGI, like I said, it looks great. But it does have earnings coming up, so that would be wait till after on that one. Ooh, this one interesting. I don't know what this is. Sphere Entertainment. I want to say this might have to do with the ball and or the Sphere in Vegas. But okay, we've got a 3-day buy signal. We've got a daily buy signal. Um, it's not a very like the pattern is not very clean. The weekly, it is a little more clean, but we don't have a weekly squeeze. We don't have a weekly buy signal. We've got a 4-hour buy signal. We've got a daily buy signal. I think that we held the 50% retracement pretty well. We broke above the 618. We can look to see if it holds on Monday. And then I think that this would have a move up into the 786. But like I said, it's not the best looking pattern in the world. We talked about that one. We talked about ADI. This has earnings. This is, I believe it's one of those small banks, but weekly buy signal in the buy zone. Cool. Looks good. Um, I think that we can look for continuation in this name, but we have earnings. So this is actually a really great looking chart pattern with the weekly squeeze. So I'm not sure what that's about, but I'll go there. Okay. So it looks like we can do that. So it looks like that 1272, the price target that we'd want to look for is this fib cluster. And that just simply comes from the fact that we've got the 1272 and the 50% retracement. We're holding like your stop loss would be below 50.45, and then target would be 50, or sorry, the 45, and then 57 would be your target based on this. So we've got a daily squeeze, we got a 4 hour that fired off. We've got a 3 day squeeze. This one looks like it's ready to move higher as well. It's just difficult because, earnings. So C, I missed this one, but this one actually turned out to be a great trade. So we had early entry signals at the buy zone, and this gave us a really nice move to the upside. So what we've done here is we've walked through 4 hour signals, we've walked through daily signals, now we're walking through weekly. And so this one CI, whole lot of lines on this chart. Let's get rid of this because it's met that 1272 extension. So I think this is the one we want to pay attention to at this point in the game. Weekly buy signal on this one. Don't really have too much else to say about it. We've got earnings coming up on 10/31 end of this month, so it's a little tough to play the weekly signal unless you're going to hold through earnings. IWM, we've talked about this a good bit. I think this is where money might start rotating, but it's very subjective because this thing it's taking forever to break out, guys. So, but it does have a setup. It does have the setup. So we've got so squeezes on so many time frames, right? We've got it on the daily, the 4 hour, the 3 day, and the weekly. Marvel talked about it. Rut. Let's take a look at, let's see if there's more. Oh, this is just another version of the Russell. Or so it's the same thing as IWM. SU. Early entry signal. I don't know. There's nothing too much to say about this one. TTWO. Interesting. Not really. Okay, yeah, so basically that's the watch list, guys. That's the swing watch list to focus on. Those are the things that we're paying attention to. That's those are the setups. If I had to nail down some for you that are my favorites, right? I would go with LUV, um, Marvel, Apple, um, Walmart. Walmart's probably the best looking chart out there. Marvel has the biggest potential for breakout, for a huge breakout. And then this Zion chart, Zion. This I don't know how to you say that, but I mean this one is going to break out if IWM breaks out. So this looks good. I think it actually looks great. And then what else here? Uh, that's about it, guys. McDonald's, I think McDonald's looks awesome. So really, you're looking at you've got McDonald's, you've got Apple, you've got GM, LUV, Marvel. All of those look good. Walmart, and ABBV. So those are kind of the top setups that I'm paying attention to into next week, that have an actual good risk to reward entry. But you can see here we've got a few heavy hitters that have weekly squeezes forming. It's just they're not the entry type of trades. So like Amazon, this one looks good. Bounced right off the 21 EMA. And this has daily, 3 day, 4 hour squeezes on all these time frames. So we'll keep an eye on this one as well. But all right, guys, I hope this helps. Comment down below the stuff that you guys are watching. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. And if you're interested in joining our series that we're starting this week, I'll put the link down below for the free trial. But all right, guys, thanks for joining, and I'll see you for the markets this week.